Now, after spending the 2024 season competing in the FIA World Endurance Championship, a hypercar class, of course, for Callum Illot, because the news was broken that he is returning to the Entity IndyCar Series full-time in 2025. Illot will drive for PREMA in the highly successful and respected European open-wheel racing organization's debut season in IndyCar competition. Now, in the past, PREMA said that they wanted at least one experienced driver in its lineup, and Illot checks the box. Now, with 38 IndyCar races under his belt. This is a homecoming for Illot, who returns to PREMA after previously driving for them during the 2017 Formula 3 European Championship season, when he won 6 races and earned 11 podiums. Illot lost his IndyCar seat late last year and wasn't able to secure a full-time spot on the grid in 2024, but he got to run a few races for Arrow McLaren, with a highlight of 11th place at the Indianapolis 500, photo courtesy there of PREMA. Jackson's back with us now, who spent time in the paddock and has spoken with Callum Illot over the season as well. Jackson, starting with you, welcome back to the show. How exciting is it to see Callum Illot return to IndyCar? And is he a good young driver for PREMA to build up its new IndyCar program around?
Awesome to be back, Josh. Awesome for Callum Illot to be back. It's hard to really call him back because, as you mentioned, part-time season with McLaren, almost saw him as late as Toronto with that whole kerfuffle with Porsche. But I think we see Callum Illot as just on that cusp of maybe being a veteran guy and what he can provide. We know as a God-given fact, this is a guy that can really do good results, especially, off of the couch. It's a quality of, I don't have quite consistent results yet, but I have that ongoing ability to go out and provide top 15s, top 10s, and adapt quickly to new environments. And I think that is exactly what PREMA needs. If it's not veteran experience, it's adaptability that I think PREMA is looking for out of Callum Illot, and I think he has a really great opportunity to provide for this very, very young team.
Yeah, totally. Really excited for Callum Illot to get this incredible opportunity to race with PREMA. And like you said, Josh, PREMA said that they wanted their drivers to have IndyCar experience. When they said IndyCar experience, I thought they wanted someone, with a lot more experience than Callum Illot has, in just his, couple of full-time seasons in this series, and then, a few races here and there. But I think, just nearly 40 races in IndyCar, I think that's enough to warrant a race seat. And we've seen a lot of potential in Callum Illot. I really believe if you can get him in the right team, right environment, get him some stability, that he can turn into a star in the IndyCar series. We already know what he can do on the road and the street courses. Very talented on those. I think he's developing into a very good oval racer as well. Remember what happened in the Indianapolis 500? He was on pit road at the start. Had an issue there, and then the crash in turn 1. Was basically a big break for him. And then he was able to catch up to the pack and have a very good race. Didn't make any mistakes, and really showed what he can do in this series. And I think that it was unfortunate, that the way the situation turned out at the end of last season, when he lost his seat very late and didn't have an opportunity to sign on full time with the team for this season that just ended. And for him to join PREMA, a team that he knows well, a team he's driven for before, I think it's a great fit, and looking forward to seeing what they can do together. And I absolutely believe that they can really build this team around him, and he can help them find some success in their first season. But I know it's not going to be easy for PREMA. Josh, you know better than anyone. PREMA, in Formula 3, Formula 2, other the junior categories up there, they're one of the most successful teams in the junior categories of open wheel racing in Europe. So they know how to win races. They know how to win championships. And I think it may take a little bit of time for them to get up to speed in IndyCar, but once they figure everything out, get some experience under their belt in the IndyCar environment, I think PREMA may potentially be a force to be reckoned with.
Absolutely. Let's not forget as well that PREMA's F2 drivers, of course, both next year will be in Formula 1. Ollie Behrman already made his debut for Haas, scoring a point-scoring position in Azerbaijan, beating his teammate Nico Hülkenberg. And Andrea Kimi Antonelli has already signed for Mercedes, and that deal has been announced as well. And everyone now looks to the junior run with as well in Formula 2 as to who could take over that spot at PREMA. We already know with Ollie Behrman not racing in Azerbaijan, Gabriel Mini stepped up and did a very impressive weekend. So it looks like Mini's going to head up into F2 next season. Who gets that second seat, however, is still waiting to be found as well, because, of course, that's being held by Antonelli at the moment. They won't get another chance to test it unless Behrman gets another call to Formula One for some reason over the weekend. But that's a problem for PREMA's team owner. And their team owner, Rene Rosin, said that Illot's prior INDYCAR experience will be an invaluable asset ahead of their first season in the new series. It was previously announced that PREMA would use the numbers 83 and 90 for their INDYCARs. We still don't know which car Illot will drive. Now, they chose number 83 because that was the year the team was founded, and number 90, the year they won their first championship. Now, Sportscar 365 and Racer.com correctly reported that Illot would drive for PREMA, and both outlets also said that Robert Schwartzman could be their second IndyCar driver as well. Now, Schwartzman has tested IndyCar before with Chip Ganassi Racing at Sebring and set some impressive lap times. On the road to F1, Schwartzman won the Formula 3 title in 2019 before graduating to Formula 2, finishing 4th and 2nd in the 2020 and 2021 World Championships, all while driving for PREMA. But since 2022, he's been one of Ferrari's reserve drivers in Formula 1 while racing for the Prancing Horse and AF Corsa in the GT World Challenge Europe and the FIA World Endurance Championship, plus impressive testing with DS Penske in Formula E. Doesn't seem like Schwartzman will get to F1 full time, but IndyCar would be another great opportunity as well. Now, how would you feel about PREMA choosing Robert Schwartzman if the reports are correct, Kobe?
Well, I think there's a lot of great candidates out there for that PREMA seat. I can't count them on all my fingers because we have, unfortunately, we don't have enough seats for all the great drivers that are out there. It's unfortunate, that some great talents and some great personalities are going to get left off the list, once all the seats are taken. But for Robert Schwartzman, I think that this will be a well-deserved, well-overdue opportunity for him to race in a major open-wheel racing championship. You already mentioned all his accomplishments, Josh. He looked really good, at basically every level he's been at, taking the Formula 3 crown, finishing a top 5 both seasons in Formula 2. And then we're like, yeah, he's going to Formula 1, right? But unfortunately, just doesn't seem like that's going to happen, which is quite a shame for him. You can say that for a lot of young drivers as well who deserve to be in F1. I think Robert Schwartzman definitely has the talent to be a full-time Formula 1 driver, but just the way circumstances are, sometimes you just have to be realistic about what's happening. He's had some decent runs, in the sports cars and all of that. But being as talented he is in open wheel race, I'm sure sports cars is not where he wants his full-time career to be. And when you have an opportunity to come to IndyCar, I think that this is an opportunity that he should take it if PREMA ends up choosing him for the second seat. And also, you mentioned that test he had with Chip Ganassi Racing at Sebring. When he ran that test session, he was the fastest at that test. They were evaluating, just like a bunch of different drivers at the time. I believe Stingray Robb was there. Dan Cameron that day, he was in the Team Penske Chevy as well. Yeah, I just thought Robert Schwartzman was very impressive. Even the Ganassi team was impressed with the speed that he had. And reading some comments from Schwartzman that day, he actually had a lot of fun driving the IndyCar. And I think him returning to PREMA would be a seamless transition. Already knows the team, know how they operate. It would be very easy, and it would be fun to see how he gets along in IndyCar if he's indeed chosen to be the driver. But like I said, there's a lot of other great candidates out there who'd be worthy of this seat, like a Teo Pourchaire, wondering what's going to happen with his racing career moving forward, because we really haven't heard his name being mentioned in the silly season as of lately.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Kobe. I think this would be an easy shoe-in at PREMA, if not anywhere else in an IndyCar seat right now. The only issue is this is, I believe, one of the most competitive silly seasons we're walking into in recent history, especially with Teo Pourchaire, who also fits that bill of F2 guy coming around with a lot of experience. You could say the same thing about Yuri Vips. Where's he going to end up? He could also provide that same level of results. So I think I could absolutely see him in that position, but it's going to be a matter of, can he bring funding? Does PREMA want maybe a little bit more, even more veteran experience maybe than Callum Illot? Or, do you maybe roll the dice on a guy that's never had a full-time IndyCar season? I think The big thing for me that threw me for a loop was 2018. We saw Carlin join IndyCar and Chip Ganassi Racing cut off 2 guys, Charlie Kimball, Max Chilton. Both of those guys instantly went over to Carlin. Here we are, 2023. Ganassi cuts 2 guys. I was immediately expecting the PREMA announcement of welcome to the team, Chip Ganassi drivers. To be fair, we don't know who Chip's exactly cutting yet, but I was so sold we were going to see someone from Chip Ganassi in there. I would still consider that as a favorite, maybe a Linus Lundqvist or maybe Marcus Armstrong, and you have another former F2 guy in there, but I just think everything is so up in the air right now. Schwartzman's 100% a possibility, but it could be anyone there.
Could be very interesting, and we'll keep an eye on it throughout the week, as well as more announcements will surely be made as we are now in our off season for IndyCar. So just take a moment and very disappointing that IndyCar's ended because it was such a fantastic season, and then it ends with belts. Yeah, not the best, but well, you can't strap them all in.